Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Trust Stories or Trusty Thrusty here. Um, that was really repetitive, but yeah, today, I was trying to think of a story I could tell you guys, and there was this one story that a youth leader ended up telling me a couple weeks ago. That's the funniest part. I got told this story by a youth leader. But yeah, starting off, it was your typical Sunday night, and I was chilling at home playing some Call of Duty, playing a little bit of Realm Royale, if you guys know what game that is. It's like another Battle Royale game like Fortnite, except it's super, super fucking easy, and I love it. And, I was playing a lot of this game around this time, and, I just have like 300 plus Battle Royale wins in that game. I'm insane at that game. But, I was just sitting at home playing some Realm Royale and a little bit of Call of Duty, and, I get hit up by my one good friend, McIntyre. He's like, yo, are you trying to come to this youth group thing at my church tonight? Do you want to come? And me sitting at home playing Call of Duty alone is usually like no. Like I usually say no about that shit, but like lately he had asked me like 3 or 4 different times if I wanted to hang out, and like 3 out of the 4 times I had to turn him down due to like me playing Call of Duty, due to my Call of Duty and video game addiction. So I was like, fuck it, I might as well go hang out with this kid, and it's like a nice thing, I don't mind hanging out with him, and I was like, I might as well get out of the house and be nice to this kid and go to this church event with him, I guess. So I ended up going to this church event, and it's kind of boring, can't even lie. It wasn't really fun. I didn't really enjoy it. I felt really uncomfortable in where I was, and I just didn't really enjoy the event by any means necessary. And it just was like a really weird message in the end. And after this event ends, me, my friend Mac, and his fuck boyfriend. Okay, he has this one friend that goes to his church as well. This dude's name is Brock, and let me tell you about this dude Brock. Okay, this dude Brock is like your typical fuck boy. Like he is the definition of a dumb, good-looking kid. But yeah, he's kind of your typical fuck boy, and this dude Mac, and Brock, and the funniest part about this, my friend Max, youth leader, ends up taking us to this like food place afterwards called Huey Magoo's. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to it. It's like a chicken place. I didn't get anything there because I'm broke as fuck, so I can't afford food. But we all end up going to this place, and we're just sitting here talking, and this youth leader proceeds to tell us a story, a pretty crazy story. So that's the story I'm gonna be telling you guys. Starting off, this youth leader is like, yo, you guys want to hear a story? I'm like, I guess. And this guy tells us, so this youth leader used to smoke a lot of weed. He used to be into a lot of bad shit. I don't have any problem with smoking weed, but he used to just be like into like a lot worse shit than weed. And I don't have any problem with people that smoke weed. I mean just like cocaine and shit like this. This youth leader used to do a lot of bad shit, and he used to just be a big party animal. And he knows a lot about weed and shit like that because he used to be in the scene. He used to have connections and stuff like that. And so this a couple years after this youth leader got all his shit together, he had stopped doing cocaine, he had stopped doing a bunch of other shit, and he had just a couple years after he got all his shit together, he was like helping out and volunteering at like a youth event. If you guys don't know what that is, essentially like he was just helping out at this one youth camp, because youth camps, like they ask for like people to come and volunteer for like 3 days to like take care of the youth kids, and like it's majority of the people that volunteer are like really strict, like really annoying people. So I would never suggest going to one of those camps unless you're like ready to like get fucked. I would just never suggest doing anything at a youth camp or anything like that, because you can get really fucked if you get caught. And essentially this youth leader was at this event, and around the time he was 20, he still looked pretty cool. He has a couple tattoos on his arms, and he looks like a cooler kind of guy, right? And while he's like he had just finished putting his kids back in his cabin at this camp, as he's like walking around on this little camp premises, because at these like church camps, I guess you could call them these church quote-unquote retreats, they're like camps, and these camps kind of suck because like you have like a certain time you have to be in bed by, a certain time you have to wake up by. Like it really does suck because you have like, it's like really strict, and like the majority of the time you have like a fucking schedule you have to pay attention to, and you have a ton of stupid ass activities you have to do. And so essentially he had just finished putting all his like youth kids to bed, and this leader ends up going out, and essentially he proceeds to tell us that as he was like walking out to go use the restroom and just enjoying his night of peace, because he had been watching kids all day at this retreat camp, he's just walking around, and a group of like 3 kids come up to him. These kids are like in 6th grade, get me not. They come up to him, and you know what these kids do? These kids ask this youth leader, get me not. They ask this dude, okay? They ask him, can you buy me a 6-pack? We'll give you the cash, and you buy me a 6-pack. Like, okay, so you're gonna come I don't get it. Like, how stupid do you gotta be? Okay, that's why I'm telling you guys, don't fucking be stupid. Think about things. And so this group of like 3 kids comes up to him, asks him to buy them beer, and this youth leader is like, that's not even enough to buy beer, and then he proceeds to tell me and my friend, he's like, so I was gonna play along with them because I wanted to see if there was anything else they were hiding and anything I could fucking fuck them over for. So this youth leader proceeds to tell us that he played these 6th graders and continued to fuck them over. The youth leader proceeds to ask these kids, he's like, hey, is there anything you guys can give me if I go get you guys this 6-pack? And these kids ended up asking him, they're like, yeah, we got some good ass bud back at our cabin. If you get us our 6-pack, we'll let you smoke with us. And so this group of kids, okay, this group of 6th graders ended up snitching on themselves, completely fucking them over. And so essentially this youth leader continues to play along with these kids, and this youth leader is like telling us this story. And I'm like fucking dying. I'm like, okay, how fucking stupid, okay? And I'm like, I feel so bad for those kids too, because like I've been in their shoes. And so this youth leader is continuously telling us the story, and he's like, well, I continue to play along with them. I said, hey, what kind of stuff do you guys got blah 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 blah. And he just continued to like, because this dude used to smoke a lot of weed, this youth leader, so he knows his way around the streets, right? So he's continuously just fucking over these kids. And it turns out these kids end up telling him that they have like a fuck ton of grams. These kids had like saved up like a ton of their money and just brought like a lot, like a good 16, like 20 grams of weed and brought it to this church camp. And this group of like 6th and 7th grader kids were planning on smoking like 20 to 25 grams of weed. And I'm just sitting here, I'm like, okay, first things first, this youth leader is a fucking snitch, and I'm never coming back to this youth event. I'm never coming to another one of these youth events again. Second thing second, how stupid can 3 7th graders be, okay? So, essentially, after all these kids tell him all this, and they're like, oh, we got this stuff and this stuff back at our place, if you want to come smoke it with us after you get us the beer, goes and tells these kids, he's like, well, you have 2 options now. And the kid's like, what do you mean? What are you saying? And this youth leader proceeds to fuck over these kids. He says, you can either tell your youth leader that you have a ton of weed, you brought a ton of weed to camp, or I can tell your youth leader. And so this youth leader proceeds to tell us that he fucked over these kids for having a bunch of grams of weed on them. And he proceeds to fucking snitch on these kids and, just pretty much telling them. And then he goes and gets like some security guards that end up going and searching these kids' cabins. And these security guards, after this youth leader snitches on these kids, the security guards end up finding like 20 to 25 grams of weed that these kids brought to this church camp. Like, first things first, okay, I don't understand how you could sneak that many grams of weed into a church camp and get away with it and not have your whole cabin reek like weed in the first place. And second thing second, how stupid do you gotta be to like legit get caught like that? Like, that's so stupid, like over beer, like fucking idiot. And third things third, the youth leader is a snitch. Like, why you gotta snitch on him? Like, there's no point in snitching. But yeah, hope you guys did enjoy the story. I just thought the story was kind of ridiculous, like how fucking stupid these kids were. It's one of those stories that I kind of thought was pretty crazy. And yeah, the moral of the story, okay, if you can take one thing away from this story, don't be a snitch. Don't be a fucking snitch like the youth leader. Don't snitch on people unless, the people are really stupid and they need to learn. Second thing second, don't be an idiot. Don't bring 20 grams of weed to a public camp. Like, it's just really stupid. You're probably gonna get caught. And why like 20 grams when you only need like maybe like a gram or 2? And like third thing is third, like just don't ask people to buy you things like cigarettes or beer. Like if you go up to people and ask them to buy you like cigarettes and beer, a good 8 out of 10 times they're gonna probably tell on you or go to the people inside the store and tell those people that you're trying to buy beer. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy the story, leave a like on the video. This one's pretty crazy, so I hope you guys did enjoy it. But yeah, it's been your boy, Trusty Thrusty. Peace out.